Hey folks, welcome to another VR video. Today I'm playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice on Oculus Rift. This is the VR version of the game that recently came out. Really, it was timed close to the celebration of the game's first anniversary. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check out the VR options we have available. We have the ability to do headset steering, which I'm assuming means that I can turn my head to steer the person. I think I'm going to leave that off for right now and use the gamepad. Maybe we'll come play with those options later. Snap turn angle at 45 degrees. I think that's fine. I don't want to cause discomfort, so we'll leave 45 degrees. It's also 30 degrees or continuous, so we'll leave that at 45 degrees. I don't need a vertical or horizontal offset just yet, maybe in the future. So there's a bunch of different options. The coolest option is the experimental options. We're going to leave it off for right now because I've never played this game. Really want to experience it okay in its normal scale first. But you can also have the ability to do a tabletop mode where the world will appear in miniature in front of you. That's only available in the VR edition. And there's also giant mode where you're basically at Senua's feet. So we're going to leave those options off. We're going to go back and start the game. So, from what I understand, Senua has some mental illness, voices in her head, some schizophrenia. We're going to help her deal with that, and I'm assuming make some type of sacrifice.
Hello.
Hi,
Who are you?
I am Eric. It's nice to meet you.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, fine.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're safe with me.
I feel safe right
I'll be right here. Nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others.
Nice. Okay. It's a nice log you have there.
About Senua.
Okay.
Now, her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
So I have to say, this is breathtaking graphics.
It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness.
This is very cinematic and very realistic. This is amazing looking.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she know coming? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already dead. I can feel you coming.
Now, the one thing I can say is, like, looking behind me, the scene probably wasn't intended for 360. So it's very cinematic in a way that it's more like a 180 view in front of you. At least currently in this intro sequence.
That's not quite true.
They have actual mental health and historical advisors, so this should be a really interesting cinematic experience.
Changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Kind of feel like I'm actually on this log. This is really awesome.
Can you see them? Over there. Why isn't she looking? Why aren't you looking? Listen, hell.
So she's not looking, but I am, and I can see
Up ahead.
people over there.
You see it too.
Okay. Those ones, oh, they're all dead. Okay.
It is real.
That's
after
dark.
all.
And
She's
that is
finally
also...
arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call Hell.
Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe. Go back. Go back. Go back.
They keep telling her to go back. Maybe she should. I do have to say, playing this in the Oculus Rift, having the surround sound, having these visuals is quite... It's almost like spellbinding,
Here they lie,
honestly.
rotting in the fields and rivers of
I
hell.
feel like I'm inside a very cool
Don't
interactive
always
film,
lie still here.
at least so far.
This is not a place of
played a couple of other third-person games that are
Can you see them?
sort of
See them?
similar,
They're going to do
but
that to you.
not this kind of voice acting, not this level of graphics. The ones that come to mind are Theseus, which I played a couple of times, both on PSVR
Can you
and
feel them watching?
on PC VR, and
They're
also
watching.
Chronos, which I played on the Oculus Rift. Both of those games were kind of third-person perspective, somewhat similar to this,
Can you feel it?
but definitely not as graphically
she thinking?
brilliant and not as
I can
intricately voice acted.
She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight.
While this game is about a
Where you're
year
most
old,
vulnerable.
it
like it
did
knows
just
that
come to
just
VR, and
enough
I've
light
never played it, so this is a
is
brand
all
new
you need to
experience
see its
altogether. I'm super
suffocating
glad I
power.
waited to play it in the VR edition. This is amazing. No gameplay yet, though. Just watching Senua row is already kind of sucking me into the story.
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own. But it isn't bravery that drives her.
But she's actually not on her own either.
Bravery only means something to those
She's got all these
afraid of death.
voices that I'm hearing right now, and me.
Senua's
So
fear runs far,
she shouldn't be scared.
far deeper.
So now we've reached a cutscene. So some of the cutscenes are kind of in this letterbox format in front of me. Others are fully rendered. They had to do this for comfort more than anything else. But I do have to say that intro sequence was
What is she
really,
looking
really
at?
well done.
What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know.
When everybody else seems a bit dead.
There's no going back.
She just kicked my log away.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to. Why don't you join us? Maybe you too have a part to play in this story.
Alright, so now we're actually back in the game. And this game is fully controlled using a gamepad. This was just a standard PC game that, again, so got 45-degree comfort turn. It does kind of blur a bit when I turn.
Use your eyes. Use your eyes.
How do I...
Closer. She can't focus. Why can't she focus? Take a closer look, Senua.
Alright, so closer look seems to be
Do
the
not
right
forget
trigger.
my stories, Senua. Because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there.
Okay,
They
but
say
I'm in
the
hell.
burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate. But gods and the living will follow this path. You
Alright.
must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north and down through deep, dark valleys. After 9 nights of riding, you will follow a great river and will find a bridge.
Didn't we already
covered in
do all of
gold.
this?
The
Isn't that
path
where
to
we're at now?
Helheim goes from there across the River of Knives.
Yeah, we crossed the River of Knives. Very dark. Somewhat dismal. as we wade through the water.
The darkness is coming. Yearns for life. Hungers for it. Like a pack of wolves.
I want to run.
But she's not stopping.
How would I run if I wanted to? I can't really. I can just look right now. It seems to be all I can really do.
Not this time.
Alright. Another brief cutscene, I'm hoping. That's really impressive, too. Even though this is kind of just like a cinema screen in front of me, the graphic fidelity makes it really impressive. It's not as immersive jumping back and forth like this, but it still works really well. So she's pulled that head that was tucked into her. Seems to actually move. So the head that she had kind of attached was breathing. That's creepy.
He's there, you know it. There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds his soul there. Her dear beloved.
I feel some Hela jokes coming on. So, she said to go dead ahead. That seems to be a little wet.
Why is she doing this?
She's doing this to not walk in the water.
She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him.
He's already dead.
So is him the guy that's kind of mummified on her belt?
His soul is in Helheim. His soul still lives. She needs to save his soul. She wants his soul to be at peace. She needs to lay him to rest. He's already dead.
All
She
these
can save
broken
him. There's nothing
boats.
she can do.
It's pretty awesome.
Save him. She's not going to save him.
She'll never make it.
Do you know where
The
you
bridge
are?
to Helheim. I forget its name. She forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it. That part wasn't so easy to forget. The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
Apparently a hidden path to the bridge. Let's look for it. I certainly don't want to die in the water. Seems to be a path over here, maybe. We're gonna keep going this way. This seems to show promise. Man, the lighting from... You can tell kind of the sun's in the direction behind me. It's pretty impressive. So what are we looking at here? It's another one of those stones to look at.
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim. And that is where you must travel.
Some pretty good Nordic lore there. Bridge is pretty far from us right now, but
Are you scared?
hopefully we can creep across this
You're in
launch
danger.
without an issue. Not in danger. I am in great form right now. I don't want to turn around. Why would I want to do that?
So brave.
What's she waiting for?
Down, you're not safe.
Stop!
Why did she do that? She shouldn't have done it.
She can't go back now.
I don't care
No,
if she
this is
can
it.
go back. This seems like the right way to go. So another door. Got some runes on it. Used to be something evil. My vision didn't help.
He's going to hurt you.
It won't. It's dangerous.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them.
Don't listen.
I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. I'll never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you?
It's just a memory.
Truth? Is that you?
Around you now.
I wonder if Truth is the head that she's
From my
carrying.
tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. A liar.
He's lost.
An old fool. Druth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Man, the motion capture in this is just amazing.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell.
See that?
Focus your inner eye,
Yeah, I'd like to.
and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate.
She needs to look closer. Hidden secret. It's just it's just that. You'll never find it. Shh. He's not around. Just you'll never find it. Give up now. It's a secret.
Alright, so we need to find that pattern.
It's a secret. Hidden.
Loading everywhere.
Is the secret.
It's near. Focus.
Okay.
You will find it.
Focusing up.
It's just
That it?
Look towards the gate, and the gate will open.
I think we did it.
The gate is open. Go through the gate.
go through it.
It's dangerous.
Follow it.
What's behind the gate?
It worked.
That's it. Got through that gate.
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell, but I watched the Northmen, learnt their ways.
Water's
I
awesome.
know you did.
I thought it was a glitch for a second there, but
When
that was
everyone else
actually
laughed.
just the water. That was cool.
My people paid a heavy price. Carried carry my stories with you.
Storm is
Together we will
awesome
make
to
the Northmen feel
live
our
through.
fury.
I keep wanting to close my eyes when the lightning strikes. It's super immersive.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here. I guess it's the same with heights. You can stand on the edge, pretend it's going to be okay. But you know that death is near, waiting for you to make that little slip. You can't just wish things away.
Not falling would be good, actually. The doubts and the suspense from the voices are just... The themes in this game.
The world of the
are
dead
crazy
is
good.
ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed, and with her you must bargain.
Alright. Dropping down one more time. Now we're back to a cutscene.
Stay back. Look at it. You have to open it.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the dead. Is that the face of Hela herself?
From what I understand, I'm already dead,
Forgotten
so
goddess
nothing to worry
that
about.
rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here.
It's not able to turn around or anything yet. But I can see the rain falling in front of me, and it's pretty awesome. And I can turn around legitimately, but I don't think that's intended here. Who is you? Oh, it's dark behind me.
You took him from me. I beg you. Let him go. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
So, is this the part where she dies? She's really dying to get through that gate, right? Oh, uh-oh. Finally time for some, action. Alright, so these guys, the folks that made this game, have made, at least one Devil May Cry game. So, yeah, this feels like Devil May Cry.
They can see you. You won.
Whoa, another one. These guys are much stronger than the last ones. I couldn't even really attack them. Dude, you're already dead. Just stand up. Everything's gonna be fine. See? Everything's gonna be fine. You can just go ahead and stand. Maybe take a little rest first, but go ahead and stand up. Maybe not. Maybe you actually died.
A vision of what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is wrought. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
So I'm assuming the consequence is that rot will eventually kill her, depending on how many times I die. So that's kind of a similar mechanic to what Kronos was like. Guess I won't try to fail then. So all progress will be lost if she dies. That means I could play through this whole game and then have to start
The
over
hardest
from the very
battles are
beginning,
fought
it
in the
sounds like.
mind.
That's going to be crazy.
That is what Dillian taught her.
So that's kind of like a Dark Souls
With every
style
defeat,
game.
the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. And she will fulfill her vow, whatever the cost.
He's not leaving.
Alright, Senua, let's go through that gate.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Surt, and the god of illusion, Valravn. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
To Dillian.
To his soul. It won't open.
How will she get through?
Why won't it open?
Why can't she open it? She needs to challenge the gods.
She has to fight two gods first.
Two gods?
Two gates.
Which will she choose first?
One of them will kill her, I know it.
She's going to die. Uh-oh.
Which one will she challenge first?
Be very careful, Senua.
Choose a gate, Senua.
Surt, the fire giant, has answered. He comes from a land older than mankind. And the Northmen call upon his flaming sword to raise their enemies to the ground.
I'm assuming I go this way.
Find him, Senua, and spill his blood.
Well, one thing I can say is she's definitely
She found the
determined.
wretched old fool on her way back from the wilds. An outcast, who was badly burnt all over. She took pity on him, for he was not long for this world. Like her, who spoke of his own darkness. the Northmen.
There's a face over there in the fountain. I wonder if that's probably not the fire god though, right? Wouldn't really make sense for that to be the fire god. It's just a creature in the waterfall. You're gonna not put fire in the water, right? That wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I see some more runes. They almost look like NY for New York. Ouch. I'm sure everyone saw me jump just now. That was pretty startling, but pretty awesome.
It's nearly over. Finish it. You won.
So something that's pretty darn cool about this is there's no tutorial, so I'm just kind of randomly learning as I go. And she's down. But is she dead is the question, or is she just knocked out? Looks like dead. And the rot is starting to spread. So I really like the game mechanics. I'm gonna go ahead and end it in a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and try to fight those guys one more time. But I like the game mechanics. It's a little bit more slow paced, kind of a chill game. You have to be seated, you have to play with a gamepad. But the visuals are amazing. The audio with the voices constantly going, the music shifting in tone, even the creepy guys are going to jump out at me again in a moment, which I'm now expecting, but I will probably still jump. It's that startling. It's just really all very impressive for a game that wasn't even really marketed for VR. This is kind of a gift just for people that own this game. So I'm not even anywhere near this giant guy right now.
Finish this. End it now.
Man, again, how do I get up?
She can still do it.
Alright.
You're winning.
And death. Death is always a bad thing. Hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first real look at Senua's Sacrifice. What I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to switch the settings so you can see the other two modes. I have not tried these yet, but I've heard they're pretty cool. So there's other experimental modes. So if I go into tabletop mode, I go back. This is now tabletop mode. So as you can see, Senua's kind of just shrunken down in front of me. The landscape is all miniaturized as I go. And then one more time, we're going to go back into VR settings. And we're going to switch to giant mode. So with giant mode, now we are at Senua's feet looking up. So Senua is a giant. It's kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Or just following along beside her. Maybe we're a pet. Maybe that's what it is. Pet mode would be a cool term for this. So it changes the camera and changes the dynamic very much so. So if you're not sold on the conversion to VR, there's these two other experimental modes that really change the entire game. Maybe not necessarily for the better. We're going to go ahead and try to fight those guys just very, very, very briefly. Just to see what the giant mode is like fighting. And then in the midst of the fight, I'll switch over to the tabletop mode. It's definitely experimental because I'm just kind of like rolling through rocks here as I go. Yeah, I do have to say, I really like the pacing of this game. So this is the guy that always kills me. How you doing? I see you brought it. That's good, I guess. Alright. So she actually survived that time. Now we're gonna switch. I guess being a giant actually paid off for me in that case. Now we're gonna switch back to tabletop mode. And maybe we can walk through the gate now. Let's see.
I can still smell it. Sweet, sickly stench of burning human flesh.
I feel like I see the Y over
And I
there.
still hear their cries carried in the wind. Do you hear
Yes.
them too, Senua?
I heard their screams, and I still hear them now.
Time to go up this hill.
Are they screaming?
I think this hill is a good place to go. Found one.
Follow the screams. Towards the rooms. The rooms are important. Screams will help you. Screams. Sacrifice. Follow the screams.
The rooms. You can hear the rooms.
Trying to find this rune.
What's that sound? Are they screaming? The rooms.
The screams towards the rooms. The rooms are important. The screams will help you.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to normal because I'm having some trouble navigating with.
You can hear the rooms.
That looks like the Y right over there.
Follow the screams.
Alright, so we've got the Y.
Find them. The rooms.
Man, this is actually really tough. Trying to line up these rooms. I feel like those.
Are they screaming?
You can hear the rooms.
Hmm.
Find them. The rooms.
What's that sound? Somebody screaming.
Are they screaming?
Follow the screams. The screams will help you. Follow the screams towards the rooms. The rooms are important.
So I've got the H to disappear here.
You can
I'm
hear the
looking
rooms.
in this direction.
The screams will help you.
There we go.
Find them. The rooms.
So I need to go up here and then face that direction. Then I believe that'll give me this room. This is quite it's a puzzle in a manner, but also so now we have opened that gate.
The path to Hellham is sealed to the living.
I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to that tabletop mode just for a moment.
You already walk amongst the dead. Look towards the gate, and you will see that it has opened.
I wanna see what happens when this tiny little Senua goes up against whatever's beyond this gate. And then I think we'll call it a day. I have to say, it's a fairly unique VR experience so far. I'm sure it's a great game also
First came to my
in
lands. I knew
standard
enough of
desktop.
their tongue to beg for mercy, and they took me as a slave. I wish now that they had slaughtered me like the others. I rode their storm of fire, death, slavery to many lands. This darkness you speak of,
And I'm still here to fight it.
I know it well.
So keep in mind, this is still the first god. I need to fight 2 different gods before I can do anything else. So playing a tabletop is pretty fun. Let's go, guys.
Come this He's gone!
Come on, Senua. I don't want her to die. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Okay.
Ignore the pain. Finish this. Finish.
She needs to ignore the
She
pain.
won't make it.
And death. So that is actually going to be the end for me. Sorry, Senua. Your arm's in a lot of pain right now. It is my fault. I feel directly responsible for this as I look up at these beautiful mountains. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, whether you have a VR headset or not. This is a pretty amazing looking game. I'll be back with more VR content soon. Until next time, get out there and enjoy some VR for yourself. Check out this game. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.